iTargetGolf is making the driving range even more powerful, more fun, more everything. We're going to talk with Fred Guitton of iTargetGolf, and we're going to talk about the advances of the modern driving range. Of course, we're going to talk a little bit about golf, all next on this special interview on Geekazine. What's up, my geeks? Jeffrey Powers from Geekazine, Think Magazine, Put in a Geek. Full disclosure, this interview is sponsored by iTargetGolf. If you would like to be interviewed, all you have to do is contact me over at Geekazine. We have Fred Guitton here. He is with iTargetGolf, and we're going to be talking about the tech of golf here because it's actually changed a lot. And I live in Madison, and we have just got a new, well, it hasn't opened yet, but we just got a new driving range added to 2 or 3 other driving ranges that are in the area. And it's set to open in the next month or so. But, driving ranges are great, but sometimes you need some extra interaction. That's where iTargetGolf comes in. So, Fred, why don't you tell us about who you are and what iTargetGolf is?
Yeah, cool. Yeah, good to see you. Yeah, so my name is Fred Guitton. I'm the Chief Revenue Officer for iTargetGolf. And what we do is, gamify the driving range, basically, right? We look at this world of golf, and you look at how many people now practice the game of golf, and the majority of them actually practice golf not on a golf course. They practice golf going to their virtual golf venues or the driving range, and the growth has been incredible. And so we're happy to be a part of it and help connect the technologies that have been rolled out in the marketplace with like Top Tracer, InRange, TrackMan, or the ball tracking technology gives you, a lot of data on the hit you just had and makes the experience more fun. But then what we do is that we actually deploy targets that talk to the software. And based on the shot that's realized, the targets have an interaction directly. So you get direct feedback with LED lights that are in the driving range. So it's a pretty fun company to be a part of.
Okay. Now, and I've been looking at the technology of the golf ball, and I'm assuming everything's got a tracker in it nowadays. But it's more of the fact of how does that ball change once you put technology into it?
So actually, interestingly enough, the ball tracking companies use different type of technologies without anything in the ball. For the most part, they will use either video tracking or radar to actually identify a ball that's been hit. And then from there, based on a certain amount of reading that they receive from the video or from the radar, then they emulate the trajectory of the ball on a computer screen.
Okay.
What you're talking about is RFID balls, which we do use for our Cash Cup Golf game, which is a hole-in-one contest. And those balls have an RFID that is inserted inside the ball that can be read based on passing certain areas. So in the hole-in-one contest, for example, the ball dispenser reads the ball, associates it to your phone number, so you're the player assigned to this ball. And if you make a hole-in-one, in the hole, there's an RFID reader that actually gives you proof that you made a hole-in-one. And we have video tracking that goes along with it to validate that you did not actually run up to the hole and drop the ball in there. But yeah, so the RFID is pretty well understood now. There's a lot of manufacturers that do this. And so, but you have to have the right type of reader, the right type of RFID. And now the technology is good where the balls have, they feel like a high grade golf ball that you would play with on a golf course. They don't have this plasticky hard feel. And so the technology has gone a very long way with that.
Yeah. I remember opening up a golf ball years ago, and it's like you open off the skin, and then there's a whole bunch of rubber bands material. Yeah. And then, of course, the core itself. Many golf balls in my golfing days, and of course, the change. It's good to know that the golf ball has not changed on this whole thing, because that's the core. I mean, the clubs change, because you got technology that creates new shafts and new heads and everything like that. And then, of course, the golf ball is what really is the driving factor, pun intended. Let's talk a little bit about the rest of that. So basically, let's say I own a driving range, just standard driving range, been doing it for years, and I want to make it a little bit more exciting for the people. What's the process of making this into something where lights shine and hole-in-ones get recognized through video screens and things like that?
Right. So basically, the way our technology is set up is it connects through an API with the three main tracking systems in the world, right? Again, TrackMan, TopTracer, and InRange. And we receive information. It's different with each company, right? But it will tell us which bay hit the ball, which target they hit to the ball. And there's different way to identify the ball, and how far from the target did the ball land, right? And there's only a signal ball meets certain distance at least, right? It doesn't give you every single ball because otherwise you would have tons of data. You have to sort through it. So it has prerequisites that have to be met to register. And when we receive that information, our system is able to say, oh, a ball landed within 3 meters, because it uses a metric system for the most part, 3 meters, 5 meters, or 15 feet from the target, whatever the range operator decides. And then the target itself as a signal say, hey, there was a shot. And so now there's a signal sent to the LED by a computer that's built inside the target that creates a light animation for that specific target.
Okay.
We have another piece of technology, which is our in-bay interactive lights. Now those respond to an additional data point, which is which bay hit the ball, which is information we receive. And so let's say you make a shot and you hit near the blue target, then the bay light itself will turn blue and have an animation. And so as a golfer, you get to go, I did that.
I did that. That was me.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And so it's a way to really gamify the experience and even give opportunities for a driving range to say, hey, I'm going to make all the targets white, but one of them will be red. And the first bay to turn their bay lights red gets a free round of drinks.
Okay.
And so you could create some really cool, fun interactions with this. When we deploy the system, you receive a tablet. And with that tablet, you can control the time on, time off. So that's more for operational matters. But you can also change the colors of the targets. You can also change the sensitivity of the response, right? And so you could say it's going to respond if it's 3 meters or 5 meters, 4 meters, 9 meters, whatever. It goes up to 10 meters, I believe, right now.
All right.
And so you can create some very fun experiences that way.
That's cool. And, like I said, it's, I haven't golfed in a little while because, I'm trying to work a business here, but, every now and then it's kind of fun to go out to the driving range and make that all happen. So all that works great with nighttime driving. What happens in the middle of the day? I'm assuming that there's going to be screens that are going to show animations and things like that.
Yeah, so that's not our technology. That's where more like the top tracers and the TrackMan and the InRange of the world's come into play, right? On the screen, it shows information. Now, the lights we have a backing on it. So you can see it, depending on the kind of color you have. It depends on the environmental circumstances. Frankly, if the sun is beating right on that light, it may not be as visible. There's no question about it. But that is where the in-bay lights are valuable, because in the daytime you'll see it because it's a couple of feet from you, so you can't miss it. So it does solve a lot of that daytime pure interactive aspect of it.
Well, that's cool.
If you're a driving range, you have 3 ways to increase revenue. You can sell more balls, you can sell more food and beverage, or you can sell the balls for more money, right?
Okay.
A lot of driving ranges have operations that may end earlier at night because maybe they're in a residential area and the residences don't want to have stadium lighting on their driving range, right? This is disruptive to my backyard.
Yeah.
With putting simple LED lights, it does not interfere with the environment as much. So it creates a much more pleasant experience, and that gives the opportunity for that driving range to maybe expand operating hours 3-4 hours a day into the evening hours.
Okay.
And so that gives you the opportunity to sell more balls, right? Yeah. Also attracting more players. They play longer because it's more fun. They compete for that market. A person recently made a point to me, which I thought was super interesting. He's like, in a way, driving ranges are becoming the new modern bowling alley.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a really interesting parallel, which I hadn't thought about. And I was like, yeah, it's a very good point. Now, with that type of gamified experience, a family can go out and the kids have like short targets that they can hit at. Maybe the mom or the dad are actually more serious golfers, but they can challenge themselves and play a different game. But they're all playing together. They grab food and so you can make it an evening experience, or you can use it for networking. And so there's a lot of reasons why the driving range industry has grown so much.
Yeah.
And all the investment that has happened in the Bay for the most part. So it's been better furniture, covered bays. We work very closely with Cover the Tees, for example. They're like a leader in bay covers in the entire country. Obviously the ball tracking technology, the ball dispenser technology, but downrange, there's not been that much change. It's just been basically a field of grass.
Yeah.
That's what we fix. Like we bring the downrange to life.
That's great. I love it. And there's a few things that I took from that and that I find a little bit interesting. One, you talk about the stadium lighting, and that's all well and good. But if you light the ground right, then the need of stadium lighting becomes a lot less. So one of the driving ranges that we have is actually stuck kind of in a residential area, and I drive by it all the time. It doesn't really bother me, but I don't live across the street from that thing. So losing some of the lighting is probably going to be a good thing. The other thing I noticed, or I thought about while you were talking about this, was you said that it is like the bowling alley, and which is a very static experience. And so is there anything that is gearing towards the idea of you're actually playing an 18-hole golf course without moving at all, or anything
absolutely.
Like
that? Absolutely. Actually, InRange right now is doing a worldwide competition where all the people that log into InRange and they compete. There is like the keeping scores between United States player and European players. And so they play the virtual course on the screen and it keeps the scores. And basically the system tells you, hey, this target corresponds to this fairway or this green. And so you're effectively playing 18 holes at the range, or you may choose to play 8 or 9. That's the other aspect of the golf world that's changed is our attention span has dropped tremendously over the past 15, 20 years, with mostly mobile and all that kind of stuff. And so I think about, I have three kids, trying to get them to go spend 4.5 hours on a golf course to go play 18 holes, not having played much golf. It's painful. I mean, you've got to go back and learn. At the driving range, you're not so attached to it. You don't get as embarrassed. And so you can actually grow an interest for the game at the driving range. And that's the other aspect that I'm really passionate about, is that we're not just helping driving range increase their revenue and their profitability. We're not just helping players having a more fun experience at the driving range. I believe we play a role in helping grow the industry as a whole, where more people get that, kind of desire to go, hey, wait a second, I actually did this shot 5 times in a row. What would that be on playing 18?
Okay.
And now they become a consumer of golf goods. They buy golf clubs, they buy golf equipment, they buy lessons. So I believe that there's a really interesting position for iTargetGolf in the world of golf, of just not being an entertainment product, but also being a player into helping grow the industry as a whole.
Okay. Now we're talking with Fred at iTargetGolf. One thing that I wish I would have done at an early time, but I ended up years ago, I lived at a apartment complex where I actually did have an indoor golf range, the ball on the mat type thing. But during the summers, we had access to a golf course, and I had a pro. Actually, his name was Jack Stricker. He was the uncle of Steve Stricker, and he actually taught me how to hit the ball better, which made my overall golf experience so much better, because it's all about hitting that ball off the tee the first time. And if you shank it, if you only get it like 2 feet in front of you, you get frustrated. And people, then we have the golf memes where people are throwing clubs, the Happy Gilmore type stuff. And then it doesn't become an enjoyable game if you're frustrated from the first hit. So that's why I love to always tell people, do and have these instructors come and help you out. And I know that with ranges like that, there's usually an on-site pro that's just kind of in the wings, that's watching and possibly giving you pointers as you're going, which is something that you couldn't do on a full 18-hole golf course. That's
right. That's very true. I mean, very few things replace the feeling of hitting a ball flush. Right? You get that feeling, you go, I didn't even feel like I made impact. It just felt so smooth, right?
Yeah.
And again, like that's part of it is, but in order to get that feeling, you've got to, play for a little bit, and it's got to be fun to do, and it's got to be low pressure. And I think the driving range world provides that venue to do just that. One of the things that I always talk about is you have the traditional practice facility alongside an 18-hole course, right? People go there to warm up and just to kind of loosen up before they go play 18 holes. And then you have Topgolf, which is the extreme of golf entertainment, multi-story facilities, bars inside, all that crazy stuff, right? And very cool venues. But then there's a whole world in between. And so the question is, as a driving range now, there is all these different type of things you can do to enhance the experience for your participants.
Okay.
Again, it's as simple as furniture. It's putting screens so you can also watch a sports event or whatever you want to do at the same time. Space heaters, if you're more in like northern state, in Madison, winters get
it gets just a little cold, just a little bit. So.
Yeah, I was there last year in the summer. It's fantastic. Love that town. But the point is, there's all these things that a golf range can do, right, to enhance the in-bay experience again. But downrange, very little has been done. And that's what we feel very strongly about is what connects real golf, right? I use air brackets when I say this because I don't believe driving range is not real golf. But playing on the hole is actually that feedback of actually hitting into the open space and having direct feedback. And our interactive targets create that. And that, what I think connects those worlds much more seamlessly. And now the players goes like, I'm actually aiming at something out there that I can see, touch, and feel, basically, versus just a screen. The screen is awesome. We love what they're doing with the statistical data, the head speed, the height, all those kind of things are super cool data points. But there is still that piece about, I got it next to this particular target and I made it light up because I hit a good shot. Yeah. Ties you closer to playing 18 holes.
All right. That's pretty cool. So with iTargetGolf, is there any one technology that you're especially proud of that you guys developed over there that made this experience a little bit better?
I think the thing we're most proud of is the fact that we were able to connect and interface with all three major systems. We're the only ones that have done that. And so we have a few guys here that are, good computer guys, and that, did not say, this is what we need. They said, hey, what do you have? And how do we build something to respond to that data points? Because at the end of the day, it's software data that you receive, right? Okay. And so how do you translate it into actionable data and turn it into a physical event with the light up? So that's the thing we're most proud of. A close second to that is right here. This thing that we're just rolling out right now is Cash Cup Golf. We actually are just getting started with that. So the first site is coming live now, where we actually build a platform with a hole in the platform with an RFID ball reader. We place a ball dispenser with RFID balls at the driving range, and people can buy those premium balls to attempt a hole-in-one and win cash.
Really? Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So that's super cool. And then we do a rev share with the driving range. So that's something that we see, taking off. Like there's a lot of people in the wings going like, hey, when can I get mine? There was a company that went viral, a company out of New Zealand. They had a floating hole-in-one contest. And And so we've basically built that as a permanent fixture inside of a driving range. And that is, earlier I mentioned about 3 ways to increase revenue for a driving range, sell more balls, sell more food and beverage, or sell the balls for more money. Cash Cup Golf, that's the latter, right? Because it's a premium ball. A typical driving range ball is about 18 to 22 cents or so is what you get in revenue as a driving range.
Okay.
A Cash Cup Golf ball is probably worth about 80 cents to 90 cents to you. So if you get, a 1.5 ball attempt for every 100 range balls, you're probably going to increase your bottom line by 6 to 8%. So it's really significant.
Yeah. Oh, that's pretty wild. I just love how we can take something that we've known to be something that takes a lot of land and takes a lot of effort to keep the grass up and everything like that, and kind of condense it, but still have those 18-hole, because you can't get rid of the 18-hole golf course. I mean,
no, of
we're
course
talking
not.
centuries worth of.
Yeah, and there's zero desire and there's zero belief that it should replace that.
Yeah.
Like to me, it's just a point of entry again, like that creates more more golfers. I mean, I'm based out of Orlando, so the Golf Channel used to be here. So there's a bunch of golf guys in town, and there's a group of guys that started TGL. I don't know if you ever watched that. It's like the indoor golf facility with like Tiger Woods and McIlroy and all the pros playing virtual golf. They're hitting into a screen with a green that moves, and so technology is absolutely part of golf long term. Okay. That's not going anywhere. You think about 10, 15 years ago, we started to see ball tracking technology on the screen. When people hit the ball, like I remember when I first watched golf, I was like, man, I can't see the ball. Right?
Yeah, I was wishing that I had that. It would be like, I wouldn't have to find my ball anymore.
Right. And now like on the screen, you see the trace of the ball. And as the ball gets hit, it tells you the apex and the speed of the ball and all that data point. And now you go to the range and you can have that same data point for you. And so you can really compare and contrast. How do you look like compared to a pro golfer? And so all that information has made people be able to measure up against it.
Okay.
And one of the cool part about golf is that anyone is capable of having that one shot. That's like, oh man, I just hit this ball like I was a pro player. Yeah. Can you do it 100 times in a row? No, probably not. But the point is that experience is so much fun and so attractive to go back to, and the driving range provide that in real time. And that's why we're such a fan of that industry.
Yeah, like I said, the first being able to hit that first ball, that's going to make or break your whole game, and that's what I try to achieve, is to make sure my first shot is as great as every other shot. And I like the driving range because when you had a golf date, you would go and you would hit the driving range first, you'd hit the putting green second, and then you do 18 holes, kind of warm up. So having something that's going to kind of encourage you when you start hitting balls before you get onto the 18 holes is something that I would find very exciting and very motivating to do while I'm paying a lot of money to play this game.
Yeah, and the other part too is like when you're playing 18 holes, you have environmental constraints. Right. The weather is a big impact, right? You're not going to go out play golf when it's lightning out there. I live in Orlando. We get a lot of big storms in the summer. Also when it gets dark, right? So the daytime constraints when you can play. And now with the driving range, all of that is gone. Okay. We received pictures this winter from one of our ranges where they had like 10 feet of snow. And they went and cleaned up around the target. So you had the targets light up at night that was glowing in the snow. It was like the super cool experience.
Yeah. I've played a couple of snowball. Playing golf on ice is also a pretty cool thing to do.
Oh, that's got to be fun.
Oh, yeah. It's a lot of fun. Yeah.
So, but the point is, like, I think the driving range, like, gets rid of all these barriers that exist, right? So if you have the itch to go play right now, you probably can go play. There's probably a venue that's open.
Yeah. Speaking of venues that are open, are there any courses? What kind of courses is there like a label? If I go to a certain driving range that would have your technology inside of there? Or do you have
Yeah,
a
so I mean,
website?
I think we have about like right now we've deployed about 15 or 17 venues. So I mean, we're newer business. We've got some in Hawaii. We just did an install in the Netherlands. We've got one in Paris. We've got a few around the United States, near Detroit, Florida, obviously Arizona. So we have a list of venues. We haven't put them up on the website yet, but that's something we're working on right now. So people can go find a iTarget Golf facility.
Perfect. Where do people go for more information?
Just go to iTargetGolf.com. And if you want to see some visuals of what it looks like, go check out our Instagram. We're @target_golf Instagram, and you can see some visuals about what it looks like.
Well, we could talk about this forever, but we're running out of time here. So, Fred, thank you very much for your time. iTargetGolf.com is where people can go for more information.
You got it. Thank you so much.
Thanks. I'd like to thank Fred for that conversation, learning a little bit more about how technology has changed in the golf industry, and it's continuing to change. So people can get out there and enjoy the game. And I highly suggest, if you are trying your hand at it, get a couple lessons. They don't cost that much. You get a seasoned pro that'll allow you to learn how to hit that ball. Because once again, like I said in the interview, that first hit, that first hole, that's got to be the defining moment of the whole game. And you want to make sure that you start out on the right foot. Unless you're a lefty, then you start out on the left foot. If you got any questions, once again, you can go over to geekazine.com, youtube.com/geekazine. Ask questions in the comments, and then we might be able to get Fred back on and answer those questions for you. Of course, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification so you know when the next interview or product review is coming out on Geekazine. Until next time, my name is Jeffrey Powers. You guys geek out and golf on with iTarget Golf.